Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm Brianna, your resident Christian romance and romantasy author. Today, I want to take you behind the scenes of the skeleton dance, specifically into the historical roots that quietly shape the world of Wicked Waltz. Now, Wicked Waltz is not historical romance. It's not even historical fantasy. But narrowing my world building to late 13th and early 14th century Europe gives the story a sense of weight and reality. It's like anchoring a balloon. The magic can soar as high as it wants, but it's still tethered to something true. There's something powerful about starting with real historical moments. They give the world a spine. It gives the characters a cultural gravity. It gives the magic something to push against. When readers enter the world of Wicked Waltz, I want them to feel like they've entered a place that could have existed, just tilted toward wonder. So yes, the story has enchantments and magic and a destiny that cannot be changed. But underneath all of that, the world has the bones of medieval Europe. The rhythms of court life, the architecture that shapes movement, the rituals that shape belief, the politics that shape danger. When I first started dreaming up this series, I knew I wanted a world that felt old, atmospheric, and a little Gothic, but not grim. I wanted stone corridors, candlelit chapels, forests that feel ancient, and a society structured enough to create tension, but flexible enough to let magic slip through the cracks. The late 1200s and early 1300s were perfect for that. Castles were transitioning from purely defensive fortresses to more livable ceremonial spaces. Courtly culture was flourishing. Music, dance, poetry, and storytelling were everywhere. Faith shaped daily lives in ways that feel familiar to my themes, but still leave a little room for mystery. And politically, it was a time of shifting alliances, fragile peace, and rising tensions, which is basically the ideal playground for a romantasy plot. I'm not recreating medieval Europe. I'm borrowing its texture. One of the biggest challenges in fantasy is making the world feel lived in. History gives me a shortcut. I look at how medieval courts functioned, hierarchies, etiquette, expectations, and then I adapt them. Not to be accurate, but to be believable. I focus on the daily details of that time period. What people ate, how they traveled, what a noblewoman's morning looked like, how long it took to send a message, what festival shaped the year. These details don't dominate the story, but they create a sense of grounding. When my characters dance, argue, fall in love, or defy destiny, they're doing it in a world that feels like it could have existed. This era was full of uncertainty. Famine, war, shifting borders. That emotional landscape mirrors the spiritual theme of Wicked Waltz. Destiny cannot be changed, even when everything around you feels unstable. What I'm not doing is worrying about historical accuracy. I'm not writing a textbook, and I'm not recreating medieval Europe brick for brick. That's not the goal, and honestly, it would get in the way of the story I'm trying to tell. For me, history is a starting point, a mood board full of textures and rhythms. It gives me the scaffolding I need to build something that feels grounded. But it doesn't dictate the final shape. I'm not here to recreate the 13th century. I'm here to evoke it. Fantasy gives me permission to reshape reality, and I take that seriously. I want readers to step into a world that feels like it could have existed. One that echoes the medieval era without being confined by it. So yes, you'll see influences in the architecture, the politics, the clothing, the rituals. But they're filtered through the lens of story first, history second. History is my scaffolding, not my cage. It supports the world, but it doesn't trap it. It gives me something solid to build on, while still leaving room for wonder, symbolism, and the spiritual threads that run through Wicked Waltz. Grounding fantasy in history does something beautiful. It makes the magic feel possible. When readers recognize the bones of a real world, its rhythms, its textures, its human concerns, they're more willing to believe in the extraordinary. And for a story like Wicked Waltz, where destiny, calling, and divine intervention are woven into every thread, that sense of believability matters. If you love hearing about the behind-the-scenes world building of Wicked Waltz, make sure you're subscribed. I have more videos coming. Thanks for hanging out with me today. See you in the next one.